ahead of the Everton game?
Well, of course, we have lost Mustafi from the game on against Stoke, and I don't believe that anybody else will be available from the players who were out. Rams is still not ready, and of course all the other players are still out.
And with Mustafi, how long do you anticipate him being out for?
I don't change my mind on what I said, about 21 days.
Everton have got a new manager this season under Ronald Koeman. How do you think he's done, and how do you think he's changed them?
Well, he has changed. I think they had a strong start, Everton, and overall they are one of the dangerous teams. Where you look at the schedule, you think we need a strong performance to get the points, and he got them to a level where in the top 10. So I believe he has started very well.
And just lastly from me, the Champions League draw is in a few hours' time. Do you feel in this season's competition there may be more genuine contenders than there have been in the recent past?
It looks like, yes, that at the moment no team is super favourite, and that everybody can have a chance. So the quality of the draw, or the lack of the draw, could have a part as well, because we know now we finished top of the group, but the second game is at home, so that gives you a psychological advantage, and we just have to look at it and deal with it after.
Arsene, good morning.
Morning.
You mentioned Mustafi. He's had such a big impact on your team this season. How big a challenge do you foresee that you can cope without him now?
It is a challenge because we had a good stability, defensive stability, and we have Gabriel, we have Holding who can come in for him, and overall I'm confident that both can do well, but that's one of the tests we have. But we had many tests since the start of the season in players like Cazorla, who suddenly have moved out of the team, and we have managed to deal with it, and that's another challenge.
You've experienced many festive fixture lists at your time at Arsenal. It's 5 fixtures in 22 days.
Mm-hmm.
How critical is this period? Can a title challenge be derailed or made in that time?
Yes, of course, because when you look at the teams around us, you know that you can see that the margin of difference between the teams has shrinked a lot, and so the way you respond in every single game is absolutely vital, and it's a very important period where everybody has to be absolutely focused on our results and on the way we want to play.
Unbeaten in the league since the opening day of the season. How much do you think that is down to working with a psychologist that you guys are working with?
It's down to the quality of the players. It's as simple as that. It's nothing to do with psychology, it's down to how well the players play on the football pitch. We have not to go overboard with that. It's nothing to do with that.
But you often talk about the strong mentality of your players. Have you noticed a difference?
Yes, but the strong mentality of the players is first down to the fact that you have more maturity in the squad, and that the players we played for many years with a very young squad, so under pressure they're a bit more vulnerable. And as well to the recent history of the team, you said we have not lost for a long time, and that creates as well strength in the squad and belief and trust, and that is of course much more linked with that.
You mentioned that the impact and the quality of the teams and how they can challenge for the title is shrinking, but realistically, how many teams do you feel can challenge, and how many points do you feel will be the target? How many will win it this season?
I don't know. If we go tomorrow to Everton, let's focus on Everton and try to win the game. That's all you can do. Win your next game in football is all you can do. What is for sure that at the moment every game is like a cup final for everybody, and we just come out of a game we were 1-0 down, and for the sixth time, I think, in the season. We could come back after having been down. So let's continue to focus on that, on our resilience and on our motivation, and after we'll see how far we can go.
Arsene, I know you're being asked this question many times recently. It's about the contracts, it's about Ozil and Sanchez in particular.
Yeah.
What are your head and your heart telling you at this moment in time about their future?
What my head and my heart is telling me, don't talk about it anymore.
Can I just ask you then about Oxlade-Chamberlain? Could you just clear up what's happening there? Because there seems to be a story that talks haven't happened. There's another story that talks have happened. What is the latest?
That's the same, you know. I want Oxlade-Chamberlain to stay at the club. I bought him at a very young age. I think he's developing well. This season he's making steps. He's moving forward, and overall, when you're invested so much time and work, and the player as well, I think the player loves it here. He's integrated in the qualities we want him to have, and overall I want him to stay.
Just finally from me, with all the talk about the futures of various players at the club, how much is that and how much of an impact is your own future having on their future, do you think?
Again, my head and my heart tells me not to talk about that, because we are all focused on targets that are, of course, this season, and we have no energy, no time to think about the rest. I told you many times, I want to do as well as I can for this club as long as I'm here.
Thank you.
Hi Arsene. What do you do when the Champions League draws are on? Do you watch it or?
No, I will be on the pitch with the players to prepare for. We have a training session at 10:30. And so I think I will be out on the pitch.
So you just
I cannot influence it, you know. If I could influence it in front of a television, I would sit there, believe me. But anyway, I have to accept what will come out and deal with it after.
If you could influence it, do you have a preference? Who would you like, who would you not like?
No, because that would again, of course I have preferences, but it's better I don't come out with it, because I would put us in a weaker step if we get a different opponent.
You have a good record, don't you, against Everton? They've only beaten Arsenal once in 19 matches. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because we prepare well always. It's always very difficult ground. It's a ground where you have a soul, you know, of a history, and certainly that keeps us on alert.
Throughout your time in England, Everton have been on the verge, haven't they, of breaking into the sort of top four, more late in top six. Again, why do you think they've not been able to make that step?
They were very close many times, and I think they were once or twice in the top four in the Champions League since I'm here. And they're always, first of all, why? Because we have top quality teams and clubs who were in front of them, you know. You had for long years always Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and it was difficult to get in there.
Romelu Lukaku, have you tried to sign him before in the past?
No, I knew him when he played in Belgium, in Anderlecht, but he came very early to Chelsea, you know, and after that, once a player is in a big Londoner club, for us it's difficult to get him.
And with Ronald Koeman, have you had many dealings with him in the past? What's your relationship like with him?
Respectful. I think he has done a good job at Everton and at Southampton as well. I played against him as well when he was at Ajax as a manager, and it was always very tight games and very, very difficult games.
And just final question from me. Pep Guardiola says he'd like to have 6 substitutes in a football match. Would you like that as well?
6 is maybe too many, and I think we had that debate many times in Europe, you know, and you have not as well to stop the flow of a game too much. We thought about it. If you go to, for example, when you play extra time in the Champions League, we had that debate. It's not easy because you have to regroup the substitutions then, you know. You cannot have 6 interruptions. We see it in pre-season games. When you change player after player, sometimes we sit together before the game and say, okay, if we make the changes, let's make 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. He has a point. It's worth to think about it, but it has really to be a bit sophisticated to improve it.
Arsene, how concerned are you about Chelsea's form at the moment? 9 wins on the bounce.
They are, of course, one of the teams who is doing extremely well at the moment, and they will have to, of course, to maintain that as well, like everybody else at the top. So what I believe is that they will be one of the candidates, of course, and there's no super favourite at the moment in there.
Not even yourself. Not even yourself.
No, nobody. It's down to, when you look at the league, you think it's down to consistency, you know. And every time when the team is favourite to win, they struggle or they don't win, you know. So it's very open, very interesting, but as well it's a massive challenge of consistency.
Just one final question from me. 5 former FA Supremos today have come up with a letter asking the government to legislate with the Football Association and get involved there. They haven't been able to change things themselves. What was your reaction to that?
My reaction is that football and politics should not deal together, you know. That football is a very special activity that should be ruled by football people, and our target is to be adult enough to rule our own activity, and I don't agree with that.
So no government intervention, is what you're
No.
saying? No legislation?
No, because when you look at the history, when it was sport was linked with politics, it was not always for the benefit of sport.
Can you understand their frustration, though?
I don't really know what their frustration is, you know. Football is a sport that has values, and I believe what we are all, you are journalists who love sport, I'm working in sport for many years, what we want is that the values of our sport are respected, and I'm not involved in how to manage a federation on a daily basis. I don't know how difficult it is, but they don't, apart from the fact that England has not won the World Cup or the European Championship, I don't see that football is in a crisis in this country.
Thank you. Arsene, good morning. You spoke just now about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain making strides forward this season. You've said the same of Theo Walcott as well. Could you be more specific and say what you feel has really moved on in terms of their development as players?
I believe that first Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's career, like Theo Walcott's career, has been stopped many times by injuries, you know, and that he had many setbacks after, I think it's the first season where you have a consistency of presence. They play as well in positions where maybe the physical demands are higher than in any other positions. On the flanks today you need to come up and down, you need to defend, you need to be dangerous going forward, and so you need to find a level of a good balance, and it demands a little bit experience, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is much more efficient going forward now. He provided a good final ball for Özil on Saturday, you know, and he can score himself goals. That's what you want from him.
I don't know if you're aware of what Ian Wright said about him on Saturday. He felt he was getting frustrated about not finishing 90 minutes. Is he getting frustrated? Has he told you that?
Look, what we are a squad of 25 people. We just spoke that some managers want even more changes in the game. As I told you, it's a position where the physical demands are the most important, and that's where subject more to being changed than the central defender. You know, it's a positions where some positions where the changes are more frequent and more normal as well because of their position.
Quick question about Everton. You spoke very admiringly about Koeman, but they're on a run of just 1 win in their last 10. What do you think is perhaps not quite clicking for them at Goodison Park?
I don't know. I don't really know. I think the difficulty of the Premier League, maybe.
And just finally from me, were you surprised by Manchester City's performance at the weekend, their defeat against Festive?
Look, it looked like Leicester has come back to its old itself, you know, and but they had a strong start. You know, when you're 2-0 down after 5 minutes, you have a mountain to climb in the Premier League away from home. So that can happen to anybody.
Arsene, with Mustafi's injury, is it fair to say that Gabriel might get a chance in a central position now?
Yeah.
How has he developed since he came in? So I remember when he first came in, his English wasn't exactly...
It's not, I must say, it's still not perfect.
Is he still having sort of regular lessons?
But you know, he's wanting always to do well. He has adapted very well to a right back position, and I think it helped him to lift his level of confidence, and hopefully he can come in and do well.
Your defensive record is, particularly away from home, you're the only unbeaten team, I think, in the Premier League. I mean, it's been built on that defensive solidity, isn't it, so far?
That's what we need. We'll need that again tomorrow night. You know, we have many games, and in the recent weeks we have played many intense games, and players like him can help us to achieve gain a good defensive solidity.
Can you believe Ronald Koeman's under pressure after 15 league games, or is that just the game we're living in?
No, I don't believe so, in fact.
I mean, I'm sure you've watched the United game against United. I mean, there was a lot of tension in the stands during that match. Is that something you think you can capitalise on as an away team?
I don't expect any weakness from our opponents, you know. I'm more focused on our process, on our performance.
But you talked before, I mean, when the atmosphere's not always been great at the Emirates, you talked about how sometimes that can affect the home team. That surely applies to Goodison Park, doesn't it?
Well, yes, I don't know how the atmosphere will be tomorrow night. It's very difficult to predict that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.